This just in. Have you ever watched a piece of software write a flawless 3-page consulting proposal in 14 seconds and felt a cold shiver go down your spine? We all have. Every time a new digital toy hits the market, service business owners sit at their desks, violently stirring their lukewarm coffee, secretly wondering if a $20 monthly subscription is about to put them out of work. It feels like the machines are getting smarter every single day, while we are just trying to remember where we left our keys. But what if our terrifying panic is based on one massive, completely ridiculous assumption? Well, according to Psychology Today, we are entirely misunderstanding what intelligence actually means. Now, before you close shop and surrender your clients to a glorified calculator, we need to talk about the broken ruler you are using to measure your own brain. Because you are not actually competing with a machine. Have you ever read a perfectly polite email from a chatbot and immediately started updating your resume? We see a machine instantly write a thoughtful apology to an angry client, and we foolishly assume its brain works exactly like ours. But before you hand over your CEO title to a software program, we need to look at what is actually happening behind the screen. The truth is that we mistakenly assume that output equals brain power. Does spitting out a brilliant paragraph in 3 seconds actually make something genius? Well, artificial intelligence is currently generating incredibly convincing words and images, which clearly looks like real thinking. In fact, it's usually much better than what most humans can produce before their third cup of coffee. We desperately try to put human thoughts and computer code on the exact same scale to see who wins. But being smart involves a lot more than just typing really fast. In fact, real intelligence requires something a machine will never have to deal with. Effectively, we carry a terrible burden of being human. Has a piece of software ever stared at the ceiling at 3 a.m, panicking about a bad strategic move? When you tell a client to make a major business decision, you actually have to live with the fallout. When you change your mind about a strategy, that embarrassing mistake becomes a permanent part of your professional reputation. Human thought unfolds through time and permanently alters who you are. A robot does absolutely none of this. The machine generates brilliant answers without having any emotional baggage or professional liability whatsoever. It does not carry the regret of yesterday into tomorrow. It talks a great game, but its actual understanding of the real world is incredibly fragile. So, if these machines are so fragile, then why are we constantly convinced that they're vastly superior to us? Well, that's because we keep forgetting that being fast does not mean being smart. Think about what happens when we force a human and a string of computer code to take the exact same intelligence test. If we stubbornly insist on measuring both of them on the exact same ruler, we are going to get the wrong answer every single time. To prove how ridiculous this comparison is, we just need to look at a tool you already use every single day. This is the calculator paradox. Have you ever suffered a crisis of confidence because a cheap plastic calculator beat you at basic division? Of course not. A calculator will easily crush you at math, and a navigation app will absolutely beat any delivery driver at finding the quickest route. Yet you do not sit at your desk openly weeping because the calculator is officially smarter than you are. We simply recognize that the tool is built to do one very boring task perfectly. The trouble begins when this machine optimization creeps into creative and strategic services, because giving advice feels uniquely human. We assume we are looking at a vastly superior version of ourselves. But looking like a human is not the same thing as actually being one. And ironically, the very things that make you feel like a messy human are exactly what make you so valuable. There is massive hidden value in your inefficiency. What if your crushing professional self-doubt is actually your biggest competitive advantage? That might be hard to believe because the machine looks like a superhero simply because it spits out words incredibly fast. Meanwhile, you look highly inefficient because you constantly hesitate, rethink your strategy, experience panic, and wildly contradict yourself. However, those exact inefficiencies are what make your brain so distinct and valuable. Your clients do not hire you because you type the fastest. They hire you specifically because you know what it feels like to hesitate, worry, and navigate actual real-world consequences. Once you realize your flaws are actually your features, it becomes much easier to see the artificial intelligence hype for what it really is. So here is how we stop panicking and change the ruler, because we may be accidentally giving these programs way too much credit for simply being fast. Our biggest mistake is completely misunderstanding what we are actually comparing. To fix this mistake, we have to throw away the ruler that we have been using. We must drop the idea of a single line of intelligence. Consider this. What if human intelligence and machine code are not even playing the same game? Your thinking is entirely shaped by your lived experience and the terrifying prospect of ruining a client's project. Conversely, artificial intelligence just guesses the next logical word based on a massive amount of data. It finds patterns with astonishing speed. Both humans and machines generate language, and both can solve complex problems. But the way they actually think could not be more different. When we pretend that these two very different systems are playing the exact same game, we distort the entire conversation. Okay, but how do you actually use this information to win more clients in a world obsessed with automated content? Well, you have to lean into your ultimate service business advantage. Why would a client ever pay a premium for your services when a robot can theoretically type out a strategy for free? Because clients are buying your humanity. They buy your empathy, your lived experience, and your ability to carry the weight of a difficult decision. But if your marketing message sounds like it was written by a boring corporate robot, you are forcing your clients to compare you to one. You have to stop hiding behind generic industry jargon and start sounding undeniably human. If you want support getting your message simple, sharp, and highly personal so your human expertise stands out, then download my 5-minute marketing fix. If you're good at what you do, but clients are not converting, this 5-minute fix shows you what is quietly costing you sales. You can download it for free in the description below, or you can go to strategicmarketingtribe.com/fix. But what about you? What is the most hilariously robotic thing an AI has ever written for you? I'll go first. I once got an email from a client that included the prompt used to draft the email. They accidentally copied it in. Okay, your turn. What did it write for you? Let me know in the comments. I'm Vicky Sidler from the Strategic Marketing Tribe, and I post helpful news updates for small businesses every day.